The Swan Dive. Demonstration first, followed by some explanation of the exercise. Begin in a prone position on the stomach. Hands resting underneath the shoulders, feet taking out to about mat width distance apart, and press the pubic bone into the mat. Full breath to prepare, and on the inhale, lift the upper body, focusing on rolling up one vertebrae at a time and keeping a nice rounding through the spine, articulating up, and exhale as you're rolling back down through the spine. Keep the shoulders well away from the ears and think about a nice long swan neck. Next, we're going to think about lifting the legs. So we'll inhale to prepare, and on the exhale, we're going to lengthen through the legs, keeping them nice and straight and pressing the pubic bone into the mat. Exhale as you lift up and lower down on the inhale. The lift of the legs is really reaching through those straight legs all the way through the toes. This time we'll begin the dive, exhale, lifting the legs, and on the inhale, press up the body and let the legs come down. And as we exhale, the legs float up while the body rocks forward. Thinking nice and round through the spine, like you're the rungs at the bottom of a rocking chair. Exhale, legs lift up, body comes down, inhale, lifting up. Take a breath here. Next, we're going to start dropping the arms out to the front. We'll take an inhale for preparation. Exhale, arms drop out as we keep the body nice and round and dive forward. Exhale, dropping out. Inhale, lifting up. And finally, we'll eliminate the catch in between and use momentum to keep going. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. We'll exhale, drop forward. I like to take my arms out to the front and sweep out to the side, lifting the chest as high as possible here and rocking back and forth, and finally catching at the end and pushing back into a rest pose. The Swan Dive is one of my favorite exercises, and it's an example of spine extension in our Pilates Matwork series. The spine extension exercises are a great counterbalance to the many flexion exercises that we utilize in Pilates. You'll feel the Swan Dive working in a variety of muscles, but in general, these extension exercises are how we strengthen the back, glutes, and thigh muscles. And unless you've got a serious back issue that you've been indicated by a doctor to not do extension through the spine, it's really excellent for improving a lot of back problems and faulty postures. For example, if you spend a lot of time hunched over, as most of us do, over looking at our phones, driving over top of our steering wheel, hunching over a keyboard, we can start to compress the lungs and overcrowd our vital organs, rounding the back and overall throwing off our balance. So exercises where we extend through the spine, such as the Swan Dive, are really great for opening up the chest and improving mobility in that area. You may find that when you're starting out with this exercise that you're pretty stiff and you can't quite get this extension. You may not even be able to extend your arms straight. That all has to do with the flexibility of the low back. Don't force that. We want it to be nice and round. Over time, as you're working the back and stretching through this exercise, you will find an increased range of motion. One thing people should definitely be aware of that I see most often when people are starting out with a Swan Dive is that they tend to shrug their shoulders up to their ears, essentially cutting off their neck and letting their chest collapse in, rather than opening up and allowing that upper body to really, really stretch. So when you think of the swan, think of the long, graceful neck of the swan. Keep those shoulders rolled down and back. Some real benefits of this exercise include strengthening the back and the gluteal muscles, which will overall protect your spine and help to maintain stability in both the pelvis and the spine. Also, you'll feel in this exercise, even if you're just starting out where you're just taking the upper body and the lower body at separate times and not doing a full dive, you'll feel this stretch in the front. We're stretching through the abdominal muscles and the shoulders. In fact, if you feel rather tight or you've done a lot lot of that core abdominal work, then this is a great one for stretching that out so that you don't get overly tight and feel like you've been punched the next day. Overall, it's just great for opening up the body and maintaining and counterbalancing that slouched posture that we can get into quite easily in our daily lives. Pilates is so wonderful for the back because it utilizes a lot of flexion and extension, which is really important to help keep the spinal discs healthy. And that is your up-close look at the Swan Dive. I hope that you found this video to be informative and helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions or if there's any other exercises you would like to see. And check out my channel for Pilates workouts, barre workouts, and positive affirmations. You can also find more breakdowns of classical mat Pilates exercises right here at the Bennie Pilates studio.